All right, guys, hopefully this is the not only last, but the shortest of all of the exercise videos here. We're going to cover a couple miscellaneous videos, the two miscellaneous tools left over from your notes. Those are the tape measure and the paint bucket. Now, before I even talk about those, I'm going to talk about the other ones that we're not going to talk about. You do have the text label tool here. What it does is it lets you click on something. This is more for architecture. You can click on it. You can put a label out here. You can write stuff in it. And that's pretty much it. So if that's useful to you, if you think that it's going to help you out, that's great. You can do that. It's much more for like architecture, mechanical drawing, stuff like that. So um, don't worry about it. I'm not going to have you prove to me that you can use it unless you are going to be going down to carpentry and designing a house. So, yeah, don't worry about that one. The other tools over here, this is the 3D warehouse and layout stuff. Layout, again, this is more for architecture and like math, stuff like that. So you probably don't want to touch it, especially if you're afraid of math. Uh, the extensions warehouse, not really sure what it does, but don't worry about it. If you are going to use any of these three things, you can use the 3D warehouse. And essentially, if you click on that, it just gives you takes you online, and it shows you a bunch of other things that other people have made that you can download and import your uh, into your projects. So I see there's like a motorcycle here. I want to look at it for a second. So if I wanted this motorcycle, I could download this by clicking the download button. It would just drop into my project essentially. Um, all different kinds of stuff here. Be careful using this. First of all, if you use anybody else's work in an actual project, that is plagiarism. That gets you an F on your project. However, if you borrow and use small things and small details and use it to enhance your project, that's a different story. So say you were making a house and you wanted to have some bushes out front. We could go and look for bushes. Uh, and apparently you'll get some wacky things, but here's some nice shrubbery and some bushes. Uh, if you wanted to use something like that, you could. This one might be a little bit better. There's like a tree. So if you're going to use small little details to enhance something that you've already made, that's great. But if you download this building and you say that's your project, we're going to have words. All right. So use the 3D warehouse with caution. All right, so the two things that we were going to cover, tape measure and the paint bucket. So I'm going to go over here to the side and I'm going to show you what I expect you to show me for this exercise. So over here on the side, again, I'm going to start by making a box. Pull that up. Tape measure. Tape measure is good for two things. One is for measuring. So if I click on this edge and I want to know how, I don't know, long this box is, I can click on this edge, I can move my tape measure over to here, and it gives me this little pop-up here on the screen, this little tannish box. It says 8 foot 11 inches, and it disappeared before I could finish it. But if you look down here, the bottom left-hand corner of my screen, it actually gives you a constant readout of wherever you're at. So that was 8 foot 11 inches and a half. So if you need to measure something, you can do that way. If you need to measure something that doesn't exist already and you want to set yourself up with some guidelines, what you can do is you can click like I had already done on any kind of edge or surface, move your mouse, and before you click again, you don't have to hold down the click. Before you click again, you can put in and actually program the measurements that you wanted. So say right now I'm at 2 foot 1 inch. Maybe I only want 2 foot. So I could put 2 single quote. Single quote. You can see that in the bottom right hand corner right now. You can see the 2 with the single quote. If I hit enter, that line is actually going to snap to 2 feet. I can't tell right now, but if I go and I measure it, you can see in the bottom it says 2 feet. So if I made this box and I just knew that I wanted to have a 2 foot edge around the whole thing, I could do that around the whole edge with these guidelines. 2 foot. One more, 2 foot. And then if I wanted, I could come in with my rectangle or any of the tools really. They snap to these guidelines, and then I could push this in, pull it out, do whatever. Now, if I want to have maybe a guideline and line something up, say I wanted to have a box and I wanted to have another box parallel to this, but I didn't want it to actually match up with it. If I double click on an edge, it'll give me a guideline of that edge, and that would help me come over here. Whoop. I could come over here and I could build another box that would be, you know, on the same corner, the same edge. Now, if I wanted both of these boxes to be the same height, you can also use the move tool in conjunction with push-pull, with actually pretty much all the other tools. So I drew this line over here. Obviously, this shape, it's a little bit too big, but I can use push-pull. And rather than trying to push it and guess, if I put my cursor on that measurement line there, it will match up, and now those two are both on the same line, and they're both perfect. Okay, perfectly in line now. So guidelines can be very helpful. I use them a lot. I like doing measurements. I like making sure everything's neat and easy and tidy. You could keep doing it this way. You could do it up into the air. Oop, push pull. Same thing. I'm going to put my cursor on that line. Even though it's way out here, it's going to match up with it. You can see that corner goes through. To get rid of them, you can click on them and delete them. You can also go into, where is it? Edit, delete guides, gets rid of all your guides. So you don't have to delete every single individual little guide. All right. The guides are invisible whenever you print them out. You can also, you can hide them so you can't see them without turning them off. Let's see. You can hide the guides, unhide the guides right there. All right. So that is what the tape measure is for. For your example, what I want you to show me in the printout is I want you to show me a guideline on a quarter, and I want you to show me that you have measured from an edge and done something exactly 3 foot. So I want you to measure an edge, have a guideline going through an edge of something. I also want you to have your cursor, like have the tape measure tool active. I want to see you go to 3 feet like that before you print. All right. Keep in mind, you can also use the guidelines going up and down. You can measure sides as well. Okay. So you can have guidelines all over the place. And again, to get rid of them, delete guides. All right. So for the paint bucket, this is actually pretty fun. Whenever you click on the paint bucket, it opens this tab over here. And what the paint bucket can do is it adds textures, not colors. It adds textures to your surfaces. If you go into this drop down, SketchUp actually calls it materials. You have a lot of different categories, and then within each category, you actually have different textures. So for right now, we're in asphalt and concrete. If I wanted blacktop, all you do is click on it. It's just like Microsoft Paint. Whatever surface you click on, it turns into that thing. You have tiles, you have different things. There's all different kinds of things in here. The one thing that is definitely going to be interesting and important to people is going to be glass. Ooh, and apparently mirror. Mirror is new. They did not have mirror surface before. I don't know if this is reflective, but glass surfaces are actually going to be how you can have some translucent objects in SketchUp. Let's see. Now, right now, it's letting me see through itself, but it's not letting me see other objects. If I want to see the other objects outside, I'm going to have to go inside of it, and I'm going to have to make sure the inside is also transparent and clear. Okay. All right, so now if I zoom out of here, now I can see through. I can see those other objects. You can have different types of glass that are also transparent. You can play with that. different colors. Um, if you do not want a texture and you do want just colors, there is an option for that. Let's see. Colors right there. And you have a whole palette of colors. There also is an option for you to edit the textures, which I'm not going to get into in this video, but if you are really into a texture, say you want this concrete, but you wanted to have it with like a yellowish tint, talk to me about it. It's very different how you do it depending on whether you do it on a Mac or on a PC, so that's why I'm not talking about it right here, but I will show you how to do it. All right. So show me also an example, show me an object that has some textures on it for the printout for your rubric, and then also show me another object again that has a guideline on the corner, and then measure away from one of the guidelines 3 foot. All right. Again, don't make me guess. Don't make me try to find what it is that you did exactly. Try to line your things up. Make sure that I can see what you've done. File, print. If you have any questions, if you have any problems, any concerns, let me know. Otherwise, good luck.